here are my steps. First, get rid of parentheses. Second, deal with negative exponents. Third, simplify. So first thing I need to do, get rid of these parentheses in the numerator. To do that, I'm going to take the exponent and I'm going to distribute or multiply it through to all the other exponents. Don't forget the constant term in the front, the coefficient. It has an exponent of 1. So this is going to become 3 times 1 is 2 to the 3rd power. 3 times 3 is x to the 9th power. 3 times 2 is z to the 6th power. I do not have any parentheses in the denominator, but just because this is a long problem, to be faster, I'm going to go ahead and do my second step at the same time. I don't have any negative exponents up top. I only have 1 in bottom. So as I write out the denominator, I'm going to deal with this negative exponent. So x to the 3rd power, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not dealing with any parentheses here, like I said. So anything that has a positive exponent will stay where it is. X to the 3rd power. Y to the 4th power stays where it is. Z squared stays where it is. This negative exponent means that this x is going to move to the numerator. So it's going to become x to the positive 4th power. And then I have z cubed. Okay, so I've actually taken care of both steps 1 and 2. I got rid of my parentheses and I dealt with the only negative exponent. Alright, so I'm ready to actually simplify. I'm close to finish here. The first step of simplifying is I simplify the numerator and then I simplify the denominator. If there's a lot to do, I'll do it in 2 steps. So 2 to the 3rd power is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. And then I have 2 x terms in the numerator. Remember, the rule for multiplying is you're going to add these because I have 9x's here times 4x's here. It's a total of 13x's in the numerator. Okay, so sometimes what I do when it's messy is as I write them, I cross them out. Make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, I only have one z on top, so I just leave that z to the 6th power. Alright, and then denominator. I only have one that has an x, so x to the 3rd power. Done with that. Only one y to the 4th power. Okay, now I have 2 with z. So z squared is z times z, z cubed is z times z times z. I have a total of 5 z's in the denominator. Okay, now I'm almost finished. I have one more step here, and that's to simplify any that are the same on the top and the bottom. So I have x's in the top and the bottom. My constant, or my coefficient here, 8, I only have 1 in the numerator. I have nothing in the denominator, so that's going to stay. So I'm going to have 8 up top in the numerator. Okay, now my x's. I have some on top and bottom. My question is, where do I have more? The answer is I have more on top. How many more? Well, if I have 13 on top and 3 on bottom, I have 10 more on top. The 3 on bottom will cancel out 3 on top, and I'll be left with x to the 10th power. I'm subtracting. Okay, I only have one y term. Let's see, let's cross these out. Okay, I only have one y term. It's in the denominator, so it's going to stay down there. Alright, done with that. Okay, now z's. I've got them on bottom and top. So the question is, where do I have more? I have more in the numerator. How many more? I only have one more. I'm subtracting and I have one more on top. So, since I had more on top, that one z is going to be left on top. And that's my final answer. There's nothing else I can do here. So, I'm going to get my calculator and check. Because I've got more than one variable, I will use the appropriate variables. I'm going to use x, y, and z. Now, I need 3 ugly numbers. So remember, when you're checking simplification, when you're simplifying a problem, the original problem here, always go to the original one, should be equivalent to the simplified answer, no matter what the variables are. To make sure that I don't have any crazy coincidences, I'm going to store some ugly numbers in here. So I'm going to do pi, that's always a nice one. I'm going to put that, store that into x. Now I need 2 more because I have a y and a z. So I like to do some square roots. Square root of 2, that's going to give me a nasty decimal. So I'm going to store that into y. Alpha y. Okay, now I need one more. Square root of 3 works. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to store that into z, alpha z. Okay, so I've got 3 different ugly decimals in here, and they don't have to be irrational numbers, but these are the ones I like to use. Okay, now put in the original problem. This is tedious, but totally worth it, because especially with a multiple choice answer, you're always going to know if it's right or not. Alright, the one thing that I need to remember is that when I'm putting a fraction into a calculator, the calculator does not understand fractions. So you have to tell it that the division that you use is a fraction. To do that, you tell the calculator, do everything on top, do everything on bottom, and the last thing you do is divide. So you're going to need to insert extra parentheses here. So around the numerator, we're going to have parentheses. Now, we have another set of parentheses because we've got that cubed on the outside. So, a second set of parentheses. 2x to the 3rd power, get out of the exponent. Alpha z squared, close parentheses, all to the 3rd power, get out. Now close that parentheses. So see, I've put parentheses around that entire numerator. Now, divide. Alright, in the denominator, I'm going to need another set of parentheses around this whole thing. X cubed, get out of the exponent, alpha y, see, I gotta use my finger, I'm getting lost, alpha y to the 4th power times alpha z squared times x to the negative 4th power out of the exponent, alpha z to the 3rd power, get out of the exponent. Alright, now close that whole parentheses around the denominator. Okay? Enter. Again, I do not care what it is. All I care is that it gives me the same answer here. Now, my answer is also a fraction, so I'm going to need parentheses around the numerator. I actually am not going to need parentheses around the denominator because exponents happen before division. Anytime you're not sure, be in the habit of putting them in there. Okay, so if you're not sure if you should use them or not, put them in there. Alright, in the numerator I've got 8 times x to the 10th power times z. Close my parentheses. That whole numerator is divided by the entire denominator, which is y to the 4th power. And close that. So if in this situation, if you left that parentheses off, y to the 4th power, you would be okay. But to be safe, we'll put it in. Okay? I've got the same answer. So that tells me that I have simplified correctly. Again, I might not have simplified all the way, but I know that what I've done so far is good, and I can't figure out what else to do, so I'm going to assume that I'm finished.